What's up, y'all? It's your boy Oshea. Checking in with TampaMystic here at Industry's Most Wanted. You already know what it is. Stay tuned.
I've been arguing with myself in this booth. Call myself a lie, but I know it's my truth. Feel the pressure crashing, I'm done following rules. No more pretend, we're far from the end. I've been arguing with my...
What's going on? It's your girl, TampaMystic, and we are live on the Industry's Most Wanted.
Industry's
Most
Wanted.
I heard that I got my hometown in the building.
Hello.
What's going on, bro? Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Boom. Introduce yourself.
My name is Oshea Lanier, kind of like Kanye, but before Kanye got to Kanye. You know what I'm saying?
He's the original, y'all.
Yeah, my name is Oshea Lanier. I'm originally from California.
Okay.
But I moved out to Tampa area a few years back and finally started to dive into the culture and into the industry out there, the underground scene, and found an opportunity, worked my way up, and here I am.
Man, that is beautiful. We have a lot to talk about because you're actually going to bring me up to speed on my own city because I haven't lived there and going on 10 years
man.
now. How long did you live in Cali?
So I was born and raised in Cali,
Yeah.
Originally from LA area, and spent most of my time out there. I came out to Florida originally in 2012.
Okay.
I was out there for a few years up until about 2015.
Okay.
Went back out to Cali for about 3 years. Came back out about 2019. So I've been out in Florida since then.
So when you moved to Florida back in 2012, you were in the Tampa area at that time?
The whole entire time, I've always been in the Hernando County.
Okay.
So it's always been relatively, around that area, about
Absolutely.
an hour north. But I found my way a little bit into Tampa, a little bit in Orlando, kind of just feeling my way around,
Of course, yeah.
I actually ran into a showcase that presented itself actually in Hernando County. And shout out to DJ Shalimar for that one. Because honestly, without that one, I wouldn't be here.
Shout out to DJ Shalimar. Like, I've known that guy for ever. Like, he's like a brother, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we had this opportunity because he reached out to me before and he actually wanted me to come down and judge. But
He actually told me. He actually DM'd me. He's like, "Yo, be sure to tell her that we need to get her out there for a judge."
yeah, he wanted me to, but I was already booked during the time when he was doing the showcase. I said, well, since I can't be there, let me at least offer a prize. We
That's
could do the
fair.
interview or something like that. And he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad that
awesome.
you won. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And we're gonna talk about all of that. But let's take it back because people need to understand how music became that passion for you. And we all like music growing up, but how did it personally become your passion?
So music, it kind of saved me, actually. I spent my younger years going through a bit of a struggle. My family went from, I kind of guess you could say I've been through all sides of life,
Yeah.
all walks of life. We went from having literally everything set up. I was going to be squared away for for having like a college tuition and everything taken care of. I was about to have everything paid for. And through some legal issues going on with my stepdad, where he was working, it ended up resulting with us losing everything. So I, at 16, ended up homeless.
Wow.
And music was the only thing that got me through it.
Man, can we talk about that just a little bit?
Sure.
Because
I'm an open book.
yeah, and I love that people are willing to share their struggle
100%.
because one thing about life, we can't skip the struggle.
Well, the thing is, when you have a lot of people that are social media and the internet nowadays is quick to just show the positive side
That's
of
all
life.
they show.
They
The
don't
best
show
pictures,
They
I
don't
know,
show the
you
struggle
know.
that came to get there, And sometimes people are gonna lose out on the what's the word I'm looking for? The intensity of how important that is to somebody and the strides that they've made considering where they came from.
Man.
So it's all about that. But with the homelessness, at 16, it was kind of rough. Right there in high school, middle
Yeah.
of high school, going through all that. I was, I guess, a smarter kid, but being that I was homeless, I didn't deal with school stuff. I was
Yeah.
in school, but I was never doing any work. I was always too focused on like, what am I going to do to get $20 to get dinner for the night?
Yeah.
So after school, I would go over to the girl I was dating at the time. Her parents owned like a ranch and they had horses and stuff there. So I would go and I would take care of the horses to
Yeah.
get like $20 just so I can grab some grub.
Man.
But that whole scenario ended up falling off. But music kind of was the only way I could get through that.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues growing
Yeah.
up, and as big as it is, trigger warning for those. Suicide was a big thought that
Yeah.
had crossed my mind at the time, because my parents were disabled. They couldn't work.
Yeah.
I'm 16. I got nothing. I got nothing to my name, no way to survive out here other than grinding like I am to try and do something.
Yeah.
And music literally kept me from crossing that line.
Yeah.
Once I started writing, I had a little keyboard actually. So we would either sleep in the car or we'd sleep in so the parents of the lady the girl that I was dating at the time, they had this like moldy 12-foot trailer that they had sitting on their property for like 10 years. It's been untouched or whatever. So they pulled that up towards the front. We hooked up a hose to the lines there and slept in that. And it was an interesting experience to say the least.
Yeah.
But with that, I had a little keyboard and my mom's laptop. And I got a cracked version of FL Studio.
Right?
And
shout out to the hackers of the world.
You know what I'm saying? That was shout out to Pirate Bay back in 2011, 2010. And I had gotten a keyboard and I hooked that up, and I used to just I taught myself piano and to play that to kind of get me out. I made up my own melodies and started writing some little jingles and little songs and stuff like that. And eventually I ended up getting the opportunity to get out of that situation and take my family out from there down to Southern California, and get us kind of back on track with surviving with my grandma. We moved into my grandma's actually. And with going out there, I kind of was like, I need to pick a passion, pick something,
Absolutely.
and stick with it.
Yeah.
So I found music. I stuck with it. I never was big on I spent so much time on SoundCloud. You know, people spend all that time. They're like,
Right.
"Oh, just start posting to SoundCloud. That's gonna get you. That's gonna get you somewhere."
Right. You won't get a big deal.
I was like,
Someone's gonna sign you.
Yeah, and so I ended up getting on SoundCloud with a homie of mine, and we started putting out some tracks and stuff, and it was just for the fun of it. And I was like, man, this isn't going anywhere. We're not gonna see anything off of this. How do we find a way to actually make some money and monetize?
Right.
Off this? What's the real way to go about this? So after like 2 years of just putting out, trash really, I was like, let me crunch down and find the way this actually works, how this industry really works, so I could figure it out. And in that, I was able to find the distributors, the websites that allow you to distribute, the places to buy your beats and have actual paperwork that shows that you own it.
Yeah.
The places to register your music so that you can get all your royalties and rights for everything that you do. Like I found all these little places, and I finally said, I'm gonna fully invest myself into pursuing that and pushing everything the right way. And in doing so, it's kind of led me along this path of getting out to here.
Man. You got a hell of a journey.
It's been nonstop. It's been nonstop.
And, let's just talk really quickly about something you said. You did a lot of research and you figured out how to do a lot of stuff on your own. And I just want to commend you for that because, man, there's so many independent artists out here who...
The big thing that I know, the biggest thing
I've noticed,
the biggest thing I know with these independent artists and all these people out there is like, y'all are posting music. Yes, it says free. It might say free on YouTube, but it's not free. If in reality you can't make anything off of it if it's just listed as free.
Absolutely.
You gotta go in and at the bare minimum get yourself a lease so that you can at least utilize it for profit.
Right, and I have a lot of them will ask me, well, how do I get my music on Apple Music? They don't even know how to do that. They don't know about distribution.
There are plenty of distributors out there.
There are a plethora of them.
There are plenty. The main ones that I know of are, you got DistroKid, TuneCore is what I go through.
United Masters. Empire.
The list is really, there's a lot. Google does so much for that.
Google and watching YouTube videos will teach you how to do.
It's wild. So I was like sitting there thinking, man, I got to go to like school. I got to study all of this. I was looking at possibly trying to sign up for Full Sail University. Like, I got to do this just to figure this out. And then I go to Google and I'm like, wait a minute, it's all right here.
It's right here for free at my fingertips.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
YouTube and Google University.
Had to jump right onto it.
So any artist that may check this out, please take heed to that. Like, anything that you could possibly want or need to know about this music industry is available on Google Google
100%.
or, search it on YouTube, because a lot of people put YouTube videos out where they've talked about copywriting
Yep.
and distribution or whatever it is you may need to know.
I know the big thing on a lot of those YouTube videos and such, you see, they tend to be a lot of clickbait. They're going to say, "Oh, I'll show you how to do this," and then it's a bunch of vague answers that don't really explain anything.
Right.
And I wish that I could sit there and say, "Oh, this person I know for sure would be giving you good info," but through all the ones that I've seen, there's not really been any specific one person I could say is on top of giving up that information. But Google, I swear, if you just Google independent music distribution, if you Google how to get on those stations and those places, you can get there easily.
Absolutely.
The other big thing that I want a lot of these independent artists to know is you need to sign your music up with ASCAP or BMI.
You have to have publishing.
You got to get the publishing side of it, because otherwise you're going to miss out on a lot of your money that's most of it, really.
And going a step further, make sure you're registering your work with Song Trust.
Yes, Song Trust too, or some that's the.
Some of them have it incorporated, like TuneCore
has it incorporated with their
right.
publishing.
But if you're like with a distro kid and they don't include that, make sure you get
100%.
Song Trust as an artist and a producer. Protect your work, get paid.
You could get paid no matter what part of the music industry you in. Whether you an artist, a producer, an engineer, there are ways to get paid.
Absolutely. So, coming out of, you were homeless and you really went through a lot. I'm the type of person that I really try to find the positive in every situation, because I feel God makes no mistakes. We go through certain trials and tribulations to develop you to who you are today. Going through all that, looking back, what positive did you take from it?
Oh, man, so I've never actually really dived into that thought.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I always viewed as a negative, but I guess the positive I could take out of it is the fact that it was negative.
Yeah.
Because without that struggle, without that grind, I didn't have something to be afraid of reaching again. So afraid of falling back on. It's a point in my life that I would never want to experience again.
Right.
So to have that back in the back of your mind, that built-in fear of reaching that point, it kind of pushes you.
Yeah.
And without that, I don't think I would have the drive that I do today.
Absolutely lights that fire up under you.
It really does.
And that's what I try to pull the positive out, because like you said, a lot of people tend to focus only on the negative, and I'm a believer in what you focus on is what develops.
100%.
So if you continue to focus on that negativity, you're going to surround yourself. Find the positive.
That's the law of attraction.
It's law of attraction. We throwing it out to the universe, speaking it to fruition.
That's like anytime you're dealing with that negative, don't talk about it.
Right.
Don't talk about the negative. Let it go through the motions. Do what you have to do to get through it.
Yes.
But don't talk about it, because if you project it and you keep talking about it, it's not going to stop finding you.
Right, because negative energy, period, cannot be destroyed. It can be
100%.
transferred.
It's all about that wavelength.
Yeah, absolutely. We on the same page.
Yeah, right there.
That's my new brother right here.
Got you.
What brought you to Florida?
Really, it was just an opportunity to get away from the same routine and the environment that I was around. And it's not to say, like, obviously I appreciate and I'm grateful for my parents and the stuff that they put me through, and the stuff that we went through and how we got there. But I would say when it comes down to it, getting out and away from all of that really, really saved me. It really got me into a better place where I can look at things a little more clearly and not feel so hung up by the negative energy that was surrounding me.
Right.
My family, we've gone through I had our struggles and whatnot. And while the stuff that we went through may not have been directly involved or a direct result of it.
Yeah.
But around that same time when I was getting ready to head out, I had started noticing a bit of a substance abuse situation going on.
Yeah.
And it spiraled out to where, I've never been big to talk about it.
Yeah.
I actually have a full song about it that I haven't even released, but regarding my mom and just kind of watching certain things eat away at her soul and her mind, and things that, I lost my mom in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Understood.
She's still living and
in physical form.
But I felt like I wasn't talking to her.
Understood. Absolutely.
And it's funny because growing up, I never really had a big relationship with my father.
Yeah.
And that was, due to my parents' fallout and their own little issues. But when my father finally came into the picture, and I finally started when I started kind of standing up and showing to him that I was my own man, like I can do my own things
Absolutely.
and handle my own stuff, he kind of was like, okay, you're doing you. I'm gonna stop hounding you for everything that you do. Just keep doing what you're doing because you're heading down the right path. And I built more of a relationship with my father lately than I have with my mom's. But on a positive note with my mom's, relatively recently, actually, we started talking a lot more, and it feels like she's gotten on a better path.
It's amazing.
She's no longer dealing with all of that. As far as I know, I don't really communicate too much, but as far as I know, the person that she has around her now has been supporting her growth in a better way.
Amazing.
And she's finally in a better spot. So I'm starting to have that rebuild that relationship again with her as well. And it's kind of nice because it feels like once I kind of cut out my focus from my family issues, started focusing on my music, my family started coming back around in a positive way. And I know a lot of people might be like, oh, well, that's because you're starting to come up, maybe they're trying to get something out of it. And the thing that people made, you could take that out of that if you want, that's fine. But the reality of it is knowing where they were and where they are now, it's a lot better energy from them. And I'm so appreciative of that, especially because without that part of the journey, without these trials and tribulations, nothing is worth anything.
Absolutely.
Nothing you do is worth it. So you have to go through it to feel grateful for what you got.
Absolutely. And see what happened. You were focusing on the positive stuff, your music. In essence, God's seen that. I'm a big believer in, like in order to be a blessing, you have to, bless other people to receive
100%.
those blessings. And you started focusing, on what was intended for you, your passion.
Yeah, no, it was, I couldn't stop focusing on it. Actually, it's almost annoying to be real. I'm sure like my daughter and my girl probably get irritated as hell with me because I'm always spending so much time locked in working on music or doing something regarding the other few ventures and stuff that I got going on. But it's all for a reason, it's all to get to a better place and never I want to get to the point where I can never question whether or not I would ever go back to the situation I was in.
Absolutely.
So once I finally reach that point of full-on financial freedom, there's a plethora of wealth out there. I just want access to it.
Right. There's so many different things, me and my significant other, we were talking about that this morning, like different types of passive income. One of the things that we want to start getting into is doing commodities.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's never going to go away.
100%.
If you're buying, like coffee and rice and cows and commodity type stuff that you never have to physically touch, you're basically buying and selling. It's a lot more stable than the stock market. So we're just brainstorming on different things we can do, but we're both involved in music. So I totally understand what you're saying because there's some nights he's in the studio till 2 a.m. and I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'll see you in the morning,
Yeah. Or, I'll get that text. Are you coming to bed yet? What's going on?
Trust me, my household is identical. I get it because he has a studio, little set up in the house. Do you have a studio set up in the house or a little recording spot?
I've been slowly working my way towards that.
Yeah.
I've gone to a few different studios. Shout out Skeezy. Actually, the dude was the first one that got me on out here out in Florida. He was the first one I started recording and distributing, putting my stuff out with.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting in, actually did I did a showcase through Shalimar, and I got studio time with Mike J.
Okay.
And when I ended up locking in the studio with Mike J, that's where him and I are 1-on-1 when it comes to the mindset and the passion for it. So when we put our minds in the same room and we're just what can we do to really start making stuff happen? We started getting to a point where we can make stuff happen. So I actually got a new track. Surprisingly enough, today, day of the interview, I have a track that just dropped today.
What is the title of it?
The track is called Argument.
Okay.
And it is quite literally the whole premise of it, just like the hook says, I've been arguing with myself in this booth. Call myself a liar, but I know it's my truth. Feel the pressure crashing. I'm done following rules. No more pretend. God bless. I'm brain farting on my own song.
That's okay.
No more pretend. We're far from the end. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've been arguing with myself in this booth. Call myself a liar, but I know it's my truth. Feel the pressure crashing. I'm done following rules. No more pretend. We're far from the end. So it was like
that was a whole vibe.
That's the hook.
I just got chills.
Yeah, that's just the hook. That's just the hook.
That was really dope. I just want to say, like, I can tell that you really experiment with the range in your voice. I tell artists, and I didn't make this up. I learned it from Prince. Prince had said in one of his, he's one of the greatest ever.
Greatest ever.
He said, your voice is an instrument.
100%.
Utilize it as such.
That's one of the beauties that I have when it comes to my music. And one of the things I love is I will utilize my voice in every point of the song.
Right.
You'll hear background melodies and all these other things. It's all my voice.
That's
Highs,
dope.
I'll do the falsettos. I'll do it all. And it just, I love incorporating that because it turns you. I have a song, actually. I have a track that I was working on in FL Studio. And I was just messing around, making some little like noises to go around in the background. I did a slight pitch shift on the vocals. And I turned up the reverb all the way up, and the second that it started going out, I literally turned my voice into a flute. I was like, this is sick.
That's dope.
I'm like, it's dope. I sound like literally like I'm just sitting there. I was, oh man, this is crazy.
And it's dope that you understand and know how to record yourself as well, because now you can experiment and you feel more comfortable
100%.
too.
And that's the beauty of it too. If you go in and get an opportunity to, even if it's a $10 mic offline and you hook it up to Audacity on your computer,
right?
You know, you got some free programs and stuff out there, and you can take that and just mold and do whatever you want with your voice. It'll kind of gives you an idea of what direction you might want to take with your music.
Absolutely. You have to experiment and figure out, like you said, you know, where you want to go with and what you want your sound to be
100%.
like.
And if you don't know your sound and you go into a studio and you working with some engineer that's been doing it for a while, you know, they're going to have their own general vibe and energy and their own way of doing things.
Yes.
Every engineer kind of has their own like fixed habits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like a template.
Right. Like it's the way that they do things. And they'll do it exactly as they do every track. You know, some of them are very unique because they'll actually listen into your voice and try to utilize what you have and actually give you feedback and explain on what you can do to change this or add this part or do this. But then there's also those that are just going to hash out, do what you want in the time that you spend for it, and they're going to give you whatever and call it that. If you at least know what you can do with your voice and what you can do with your sounds, then at least you can go in there and be like, okay, that sounds good. Let me try this.
Absolutely. And providing them with a reference, you know, like even if you send them a song with a reference, hey, this is the sound that I'm going for. That way, if they mix and master it, they understand. Otherwise, they're going to do it to what they think sounds good.
Exactly.
Which could be totally different than what you envisioned, you know, or heard.
I worked with a few different engineers. I love Skeezy.
Yeah.
I love his music, and I love because he's an artist too, and
Yeah.
that dude's balling. But when it came down to like the mixing and engineering stuff, like he was a big user. He like his recordings and stuff. He uses a lot more autotune than I do. And I wanted to bring out more of my vocals than anything. So the first time we got in there, when we weren't really like 100% on that mesh, we were just kind of vibing on doing some music. We were tweaking that autotune way up. And then eventually got to a point where I was like, okay, can we turn that down a little bit? Let's see how it sounds a little bit less. And he did that, and, you know, and that's the big thing is when you have an engineer that's actually willing to work with what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
There are so many engineers out there that they don't want to budge on the way they do things.
I think because also, too, they get a little impatient. They just want to, like you said, they want to do it the way they want to do it. And if you start asking them to change it, it's not that you're questioning their knowledge of what they're doing.
100%.
You just want it to sound the way you want it to sound.
Exactly. It's like I just want to try to do something unique and change the way that I sound. I don't want it to sound the same as everybody else or to sound the same as this person, you know, like you'll notice with a lot of like local music in anywhere, really, anywhere you go, if they work around with some of the same engineers, you'll kind of get some of the same sounds
Yes, exactly.
out of the tracks. And you're just like, okay, I can tell you were recorded with him. I
right.
can tell you were recording with him.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you get those guys that are really willing to really work with you and find something unique, and they're like, who'd you work with for that? You know what I mean? That's when you're like, okay, I found somebody that's a little more unique on it. So it's one of those things you want to find that kind of niche, or just do it yourself.
I was just gonna ask you
Just
that.
do it yourself.
I was
Just do it yourself.
See,
so
you in my head. I was gonna ask you, is that something you ever thought about diving into? Is learning how to actually mix and master your own music?
I do actually. I do that actually. I've got a track out with my homie Luxway. We got a track out called Backseat and Your Love. Both of those were recorded in my garage with, I got a Shure SM7B mic,
Yeah.
so it's a good solid mic. I've got a Behringer QX1202 USB mixer. It's like a 4-channel mixer. And then I run that right in, and I paid like $120 for an annual license to FL.
There you go.
And I was like, all right, let's go ahead and see what we could do. And we've worked out on a few things. We've even taken some of those and gone into the studio and said, okay, let's hear how it sounds with the studio now.
Right.
And we came to find that like we like those sounds too, but we fell in love with our original piece.
Absolutely.
And because it felt like when you do it yourself, you kind of feel a little less intimidated to experiment.
Right. Absolutely. I agree. That's why I don't understand. Some of these artists go in the studio and they want 15 people with them. In my opinion, I'd want to be like probably just me and the engineer or one other person. That way you can experiment with your voice and your sound
100%.
and people aren't standing around saying, what are you doing? That don't sound good. Or
Yep.
Because what you put into that mic and what the engineer can work their magic, it's going to come out totally different. You know, it might sound a
Exactly.
little weird when you're doing it into the mic.
Yeah, that's true. The only other thing I could ever suggest is when it comes down to the music side of things is don't surround yourself with yes men.
Yeah, don't do that.
Do not allow yourself to be surrounded by people that are just, yeah, bro, that sounds amazing.
Right.
Da, da, da. I want people that around me that are going to give me authentic feedback.
Absolutely.
You know, like if something sounds trash, tell me. How am I supposed to
Please.
grow as an artist if you
Facts.
aren't explaining what's going on? You know, like because to me it sounds fine, but if you're hearing something that may influence, you know, be the case for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
So if I can take that and I can transform my next song to be a little bit better and sound like it's a little bit more ready for that type of person, then boom, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Now, since you started doing music up until this point, what would you say has been the most vital or important thing that you've invested in?
Invested in. Oh man, I was gonna say this most important thing to do in general was gonna be networking, but you don't have to invest to network. So I would say the most important thing you can invest in is gonna be yourself.
Yeah.
In general,
Yeah.
like you're a brand.
Great
At this
answer.
point. You are a brand. It's gonna be you whether it be the look, the image, the chains, fucking. Oh, I'm sorry.
You good?
You know, you get an LLC, get your licensing done, so you actually have paperwork.
You're a
done.
business.
You are a business. Make sure it's known that you are a business, and then turn around and everything that you do becomes a write-off. So while you're sitting there and spending money, you're making money back from it.
Yeah, I learned that quick. I was like, oh, shoot. Everything's a write-off.
Everything.
Literally.
Literally. My trip up here. My trip out here, coming out here to this.
Your cell phone, your meals, your
internet.
Wi-Fi, all that.
It's all part of your electric bill can even be written off if you're doing your business out of home.
Even a part of your home, like if you have a room
You
that
you can have that square footage
Footage,
written
yeah.
off. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I did that like 2 years ago is I leased my car because I found out leasing a vehicle is a write-off as well. And I increased my tax return by
Yep.
leasing a vehicle. I was like, you know,
Yep.
any little thing you can do.
There's so many things. The problem with the problem with the world right now is that they're just not educating you on it.
That's right.
You have to figure it out yourself. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're gonna go along like a regular person just going through life.
They
you know?
don't teach you financial literacy in school. That's not
Not
something
at all.
you know, you have to figure. That's why a
Some-
lot of people come
some
out.
schools have economics classes,
Right.
but those still are very, very.
It's so vague.
It's so vague and generalistic. They aren't going to give you anything to actually set you on the right path. What I think they should introduce is going to be like a banking. They should have a banking course in schools.
I totally agree.
Get these kids to where they understand how banks work.
Checks
They
and
understand
balances.
yeah, checks and balances. You know, just to have that understanding, so they can be like, okay, if I go into a bank and I just sign up for a bank account, let alone you just forgot to go over the paperwork and see all the fees, all the hidden stuff. You have to have a minimum of this amount in their account. You put $100 in, they need a minimum of $5. Now you're getting hit with $50
Fees, right.
every month, and now your money's gone, and you're like, where'd my money go?
Right.
Well, you should have been paying attention to the paperwork.
Absolutely. And credit too.
Credit is insane. I went from a 480 in my credit score over about a year and a half ago, and I'm now at a 720.
Man, congratulations. That's big.
That's huge. That was from paying off my car was the big one.
Yeah.
Don't ever let your car get repoed. That's gonna hit your credit real hard.
Yes, and it sticks 7 years.
And then you're gonna come out of pocket big just to get your car back.
Right.
That was a fun one. That's why I hit 480. But and then the other thing is crazy that for you artists and stuff out there, your chains. You can go to like Zales and places like that. You can get chains and you can finance it.
That's right.
Pay on those chains and it's building your credit.
Absolutely.
Plus being that it's through a jeweler store, a jewelry company, it's considered a luxury line of credit, which means it impacts your credit even more.
Right.
So you get those heavier hits, and once you pay it off, it's an even bigger jump.
Absolutely, and making sure that you keep your balances, under 30%, they say.
So as crazy as it is, I have yet to have a credit card.
Really?
Yeah, I've done this without any credit card.
Wow, now that's even more impressive.
I've not owned a credit card other than I've had the Zales card, and that's only able to be used at Zales.
I need to go get me a Zales card.
I did that just to finance my chains. Oh man, but it's the way to go. Really, that's the only thing I could think of.
Absolutely, and just them little gems that you just dropped out there. A lot of these artists need to take heed to that.
The world is all about, life in general is all about knowledge and growth. If you aren't either learning or sharing your knowledge, then what are you doing with yourself?
No, absolutely. You have to, I've learned that, building these relationships, number one, are going to put you in places that money cannot.
100%.
Period. And then knowledge is power. You want to, in order to boss up, I think you got to put other people in a position to be a boss.
100%. The big thing on it is like when you're putting out that energy that you want not only yourself to grow, but you want those around you to grow, people are going to be drawn to that.
Absolutely.
And when you draw people to that, you're going to grow exponentially. The people around you grow exponentially. They could pass it forward and other people can grow exponentially. It's nonstop.
Yes.
And it's like I said, there's an endless flow of wealth, literal endless flow of wealth out there. All you have to do is find access.
That's right. Absolutely. Google it.
And it also comes down to who you know, because networking is everything, and it don't cost anything to network.
Absolutely. Do you know H out there in Tampa?
So I have him on Facebook.
That's my dog. That's my brother.
I messaged him a couple of times talking, wanting to get a little bit more insight on it. But I don't know if maybe he didn't think I was taking too seriously, or because I was a random person just hitting him up out of the blue about it. But I haven't really dived into talking to him much. But he posts on a constant talking about the gems and things in the industry that's going on.
He does, and he was one of the first people that I connected with in Tampa as far as doing showcases together, because he's been doing the Cypher for years. And when I moved here, I helped him bring it to Atlanta, and we did it for a little while out here. He's like my brother. Like, we're like this. I'll have to connect you guys. I'll tell him.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, because he's a good person to know. He's very well connected in the business.
I was going to say, it looks like the dude is very, very knowledgeable.
He is.
I appreciate, and I love that about people.
Yeah.
Anybody that has knowledge and stuff that I can learn from, that's what I surround myself with.
Definitely. Absolutely. You know, whoever you're around, they have to be an asset, not a liability, right?
Oh, exactly.
Coming into 2023, what can we expect to see from you? We'll say in the first, 3 to 6 months of this year.
First 3 to 6 months, more shows, more music dropping. Actually, I've already got, I'm getting ready to get my pre-saves coming out for my next song, Far From Perfect.
Okay.
That's going to be coming out around the 12th. I'll have the pre-saves. It should be dropping February 4th, I believe.
Okay.
I forget which date I set. It's been a minute. I had that thing sent in a little bit ago, so I forgot exactly what date I had set it for. But the second I've been waiting for those pre-saves to drop all that information.
Yeah.
The second I get the link for the pre-saves, I'll be dropping that. But I've got songs lined up. Business-wise, I've been tapping in with some major people. We got with Mike J specifically. He's major people to me.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to get into a spot to get my podcast studio going. We're trying to bring a little bit more of that.
Congrats on that too. That's a big move there.
Yeah, we're trying to bring out a little bit more of the music scene out there as well, and give it a little more life. And then music wise, I'll be in the studio. Once we get that spot, I'll be locked in almost.
I know that's
almost
right.
on a daily. I'll be there after my day job. I'll be going there to get that stuff taken care of.
That's how it is when you have your own creative space. It's like you want to be there all the time.
I've given myself this year. I've told myself by the end of this year, I'm gonna be able to quit my day job and be able to go full-fledged, 100% on my music or my company.
That's the goal.
So that's my goal for this year.
And you will do it.
100%.
You will absolutely do it.
Without a doubt.
Because you actually take the time to learn everything that you're doing. It sounds like you learn every in and out of it.
The biggest part about it is you can either learn the bare minimum, dive right in, and possibly set yourself up for failure.
Right.
Or you can line your ducks up before you take the shot.
Yes.
and I'd rather line it up before I take the shot.
Period. That's what I did before I moved here. Like, you know, my son was graduating high school, leaving for the military. So I started planning and plotting. This is what I'm going to do. And I moved to Atlanta.
Thank him for his service.
I thank you. Absolutely. That's my boy right there.
Hey, that's amazing.
I came here October of 2013.
Okay.
By mid the following year, I was able to walk away from my job of 12 years and do this full time because I set myself up.
Yep.
You know, it didn't happen overnight.
No, 100%. Like that's like getting this spot and getting this stuff squared away. That didn't happen overnight.
No.
I've been at it for years, just trying to get on in some sort of way.
Yeah, because there's so much that goes into it. You have to get business license, and you have to get an occupancy license, and you have to have your LLC. You have to have business
So much
insurance. It's
paperwork.
very expensive to run a business.
That's why when a lot of people, they say you have something you love and whatnot, and you might sound great at it, but the reason why a lot of people say don't quit your day job, it's not because they're saying you're bad.
Yeah.
They're simply saying you don't want to put yourself in a position to where you can't support yourself.
Absolutely, because it's before you make a dime, there's so much money that goes out.
The amount in the red right now is wild. But the beauty of having an LLC is for the first 3 to 5 years, you can file a loss.
Yes.
So you have the ability to invest into yourself and take that L, because in the end, that L is going to come back as a W.
And if you understand how to file, I'm telling you guys right now, I've been filing my taxes as a business, by myself for going on 10 years now. Like, I've never paid taxes because I'm able to write so much stuff off.
100%.
I've learned, like you said, everything is a write-off.
Everything.
Even if you think it's not, it's a write-off.
If we were to leave here and go grab lunch right after this, it would be a write-off.
Just keep track of it. Get QuickBooks or something to keep track of everything.
Literally everything becomes a write-off.
Absolutely.
It's wild. I love it.
Yeah, honestly. I can tell you're very passionate about it.
I'm excited about it.
Man, wish you nothing but success. It was a pleasure to have you here.
I appreciate it. Honestly, thank you, everybody that's tuning in and listening. Thank you to Shalimar for the opportunity.
Yes.
Shout outs to Mike J for the music industry, the stuff that we've been setting up, all those things we got going. His group AMD, they got some amazing artists in there that haven't even dropped yet.
Wow.
And I'm hyped to hear them come out. You got Licious, you got Kyle Pogue, you got Muse, you got Win. There's a 12-man group over there that they got some serious stuff in the works.
That is amazing.
And I'm hyped for that. You got my Hasty Rose, my boys Ryan and Josh, Michael. It's nonstop. We going places.
Definitely. Anybody that you want to give a shout out? I know you just named a few. Anybody in particular?
I can pull out a list if you need me to. Let me
go right ahead.
Let's see what the list says.
That's one of the hardest things to do is remember everyone.
For real. I actually told Mike J, I was like, yo, you need me to give me a list of everybody so I don't forget nobody. Yeah. So here are the AMD boys. You got Win, Muse, Pravi. You got Tybo, Mikey. You got Liz, Kyle, Misha. So I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher that, but I feel like I did. You got Iggy. There's just so many people up in here that we got going on, and I'm just so excited to see what 2023 is gonna bring, because the collaboration I got going with Mike J and his group, and the stuff that we got ready and lined up to go. This year is our year.
And the brand new single is called Argument.
Argument just dropped today. It dropped
Brand
at
new.
midnight. That's on all platforms except YouTube, because my dumbass waited and forgot to make the video and send it into YouTube before I dipped out here to Georgia. So I got to go home and do that
That's
after
all
this.
good.
But that'll be dropping in a sec, and then you can expect another song, another track dropping next month, most likely beginning of February. That's Far From Perfect. If you happen to get an opportunity to go to the showcases that I'll be in Florida, then you'll be able to hear those before they drop.
So,
if I end up finding opportunities to come out to a showcase out here, I'll definitely be sure to get into that.
I'm going to keep you posted because there's always showcases going on out
I'm
here.
all for it. I just love getting out and being heard.
And I'll make sure there are ones that'll be worth your while coming for.
Hey, that's worth. Yeah,
Some
I
of them
appreciate
aren't.
that. I appreciate that. Yeah, don't send me the invite to come out here for the last hour of the bar
The
night.
janky ones, yeah. Where can people follow you and keep up with you?
Find me on IG at Oshea First. That's OSHEA FIRST. You can find all my links from there. Otherwise, it's Oshea Lanier. Last name is spelled completely different than it sounds. That's the only problem. That's why it makes it a little hard.
I'm gonna stick with just Oshea.
That works for me. That works for me.
Dope. And last but not least, we are live on the Industry's Most Wanted podcast, right?
Industry's Most Wanted. You already know what it is.
Wanted.
You already know what it is. Oshea and TampaMystic.
Period. Oshea is in the building.
I appreciate
You know,
y'all.
big Oshea.
Well, hold on now. I don't know about big. I ain't no big.
No,
but-
I'm talking about like you just got a big vibe.
Oh,
you know?
big vibe. I'll take that.
Yeah, big vibes,
I'll
Oshea.
take that.
Let everybody know what makes you the industry's most wanted.
I'm the industry's most wanted because I'm the most driven. You ain't gonna find anybody else with a deeper passion than me.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Period. Straight like that.
Guaranteed.
I appreciate you being here.
Much love. Thank you so
Boom.
much for the opportunity.
Man, it was a pleasure. It was nice to meet you and your beautiful family.
It's been amazing. Took a little vacation out of it.
Got to. You have to turn the work into personal and have fun with it sometimes.
100%. It was so worth it.
Yeah.
It was so worth it.
Definitely. We up out of here, y'all.
Y'all have a good one.
It's the part of me I fear because I still don't understand. Like that awkward stage between your gutter turn into a man. Repercussions of my actions unexpected, but I stand glorified with all my